right, so it's going. All right. Okay, so this is a hello class, and whoever else could be watching this, we don't know who might be seeing this. I have two lovely fellow faculty here from the School of Allied Health, nonetheless. But they are, I've worked with them already quite a few times, and you might know them or recognize them. I don't know. I have a lot of nutrition students taking this class as an elective, so
cool.
I may run into you. So these are both nutrition faculty, Kyndra and Jeje, also known as Dr. Dinkerbell, because she's also one of our pickleball players. So if I refer to her that way, you'll understand. So they're going to be helping me demonstrate body composition. And so, because the videos that I had in there, they're okay, but I thought I might as well, it's about time I make my own. And so in the textbook here, it is on page 329, so you can see what we're going to be doing. So we're just going to go through, and I'm going to explain some of the things to watch out for, what to do, what not to do. And Gigi's our subject, as you can tell. And Kyndra is going to be doing the pinching. So here's what I was telling you guys about. Here's my cheapy $20 caliper, but the springs are actually still strong. I've had this almost 30 years, and it still has a really nice tension on it. This is, and you can buy this online on Amazon. It's called the Slim Guide. So if you put that in Amazon, you can find that. This is the other really cheap one.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Me either.
And it's like, so the way it sort of works is when it sort of has a little guide, so it tells you, it's sort of like, I guess you hold it here. When you're pushing it, see how those arrows line up? So you know you're at the right tension, you're not pushing it too hard. So it's okay, it's a little different. It's like, I think this is like $5 or $7, but it's on www.chp, like sort of center of promotion, chponline.com. So if you're really pressed for budget, this is one, it's so nice and small, you can carry it anywhere as well. You'll notice though, these calipers, they only open so wide, right? So you get somebody that has a skin fold bigger than that. This goes out to 80 millimeters. So if they're more than that, I don't say you're too fat for the calipers. I just go ahead and go through the motions, and I'll pinch as much as I can. And then on the paper, I would usually write 80 plus or something like that, just so I know they were out of the range of what I could measure. And then hopefully the next time we measure them, maybe they'll be in range a little closer as they start working their way down. So anyway, just there is a limitation to this. Also, the other limitation for calipers is what? Let me ask Kyndra, because we did this in their class last week, wasn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the other main limitation of doing body fat this way?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always measure correctly. So if you have, just like BMI, is that the direction that you were going in?
Keep going.
Okay. Like, actually, no, you got me on the spot. Oh my gosh.
I think we were talking about like if different people who don't have the same level of expertise.
Oh, of course,
Yeah,
of course.
the technique.
Yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely. So if you are not appropriately doing each technique correctly, you can be getting a significant difference in the range of numbers, the amount of millimeters that you're getting. So if it's best to be consistent, so the same person measuring each and every time. If you have one person measuring and they don't pinch as hard, or they're not able to pull the fat away from the muscle as well, your number will be significantly different compared to someone that can properly display those techniques.
That's right. I've been a tester for ACSM, and on this particular station, and we've seen various people do all kinds of things, and so the big thing is this is user dependent. That's the big area where it could go. You could have mistakes because of the variability between the person doing it. And then the other thing, it's not as big, but it is still an issue, is what kind of fat does this not measure? Or we can't measure, or we can't reach?
So we're measuring...
remember that VA hospital example I gave? What kind of fat that this will not
We're talking about visceral fat, or
Right.
Right.
So visceral fat, obviously, they don't have a, that's the
No.
apple versus the pear shape. No, trust me, you don't have the visceral. So the visceral fat is the fat that is around the organs in the abdominal cavity underneath the abdominal wall.
Right.
So you have, like you see those guys with the really big stomachs, and you poke it, and it's, I was gonna get my stability ball, but it's really big and round. There's no jiggling really at all. And if you poke it, and it's like rock solid, that's because you're just poking the muscle, and the visceral fat is below the muscle. So you obviously can't reach with this. So when you see that kind of fat, they're obviously overweight or obese. % of that body fat, you can't reach it with these. So that's probably the two big things that's really limited. But usually it's the user is the main problem. Whereas like something like with bioelectrical impedance, the main thing that can throw it off is
the main thing?
Yeah, what's
dehydration?
Dehydration. So we always have to ask a lot of questions about dehydration when you're using that kind of method for body composition analysis. Is did they just exercise? Did they have a full bladder? Are they menstruating if they're a female? All those things that could mess or change body water content. So dehydration is a big one, because if they're dehydrated, that will make the numbers look what? The body fat percentage
More.
Skew higher, right? Because they're going to have less water, less conductivity, so therefore they're going to look like they're fatter when they're really not, and they're going to get very depressed.
Yeah.
And so
Been there.
they'll say, "How come I'm 10 pounds lower, but my body fat went up?" Well, they're dehydrated. Anyway, okay. So these are great because you can carry them around. Not all of us can afford 10 grand for a body fat machine, or even 1,800. But these are really nice to have. So when I was working at Beaver, for the longest time, this is all I had until we finally got a body fat, a bioelectrical impedance machine. So I was using this all the time, and I will still use this because there are some people you can't use the Tinida on, the bioelectrical impedance on, because if they have a pacemaker, you're not allowed to use it on them. Even though it's not going to hurt them, we have used it on some, but the manual, the warnings say don't use it on them, because we're probably about 1 in a million. You do it on them, and they're like going to shock or AFib or whatever.
To be that 1 in a million.
And I don't have an AED around here, although we
Right.
can all know CPR, right? So no, anyway, we don't have that thing. So I'm gonna give this one to Kyndra.
Okay.
And so we're gonna start off. In the book here, it has different all the body sites. So we're just gonna sort of go from the top to the bottom. So we're gonna first start off with the very back, the subscapular. So go ahead and turn around this way, and let me just make sure we are still in. Oh, good. Okay. We're still rolling. So subscapular. So where you're going to want to go is you're going to look at, see, she's got a nice scapula, thing there. Somebody who has a lot of fat, it's almost like just straight across, and you can't really find where the subscapular is. So you want to find it here, and it's right at that angle where it starts to curve this way. So the pinch is going to go along that angle. Okay. So Kendra's going to do it, and you always pinch on the right side of the body. Let me see if how you're. Oh, you know what? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you just sort of step to the side like that. So that's
Okay.
good. Yep. So you can see how she's sort of getting the fat there. So that looks good. So she's using her left hand on the. And here, I'm gonna actually get close since I can. So we'll get close since I can move this. So she's using her left hand to hold the pinch, and now she's reading.
And we want to place the calipers in the middle, so not at the base or at the apex.
Right, and I'm going to get really close and show that. So you don't want to get too close to the body because that's where it flares out, and you don't want to get too close. What she was talking about was you don't want to get too close to the edge here, because then that is going to be where it's narrowing, and the calipers going to slip off. So you want to try to get to where the fold is parallel to each other. That's the best place. And then you put it on there, and then she lets go.
And then
the
do you
trigger.
want to zoom in on that? So I have now about 16 millimeters.
Yep, 16 millimeters. Okay, good. So then she lets go. And so we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this, but you're supposed to do it twice, but you don't want to do it right away again, because you got to let this all reset again. And so you usually go through all the sites and then measure it again, and they should be within 1 or 2 millimeters of your first reading. So that's a subscapular. Let's go to the tricep. Okay, so the tricep is, keep that, there you go. So the tricep is a chromium process, and electrode on there. So you're going midway between those two bony protrudings. Oops, I didn't show it there. That point there and that point there. So you want to go halfway between. If you're being really technical, you can measure it. I just eyeball it. So halfway between is about like right there.
Okay.
So you're doing, again, a vertical fold right in the middle of her tricep. And it's right on the midline of the tricep. It's not off to the side or inside. It's right on the posterior side.
And Dr. Medina, you might
Mm-hmm.
want to explain how it is okay to pinch kind of hard, and
Yes.
that is to be expected.
That is, when we were doing this in her class the other day, the students were howling. And when I hear that, then I know you're pinching right. So it should be not comfortable. All right, so that looks like a good pinch. And again, nice fold there, okay.
And we're at 15 millimeters.
See now she's reading it that way. So she's reading it with the numbers facing up, so good. Very good, Kyndra. So that's, yeah, so you want to really get a firm pinch. I mean, when I was doing this in class myself as a student, the teacher was leaving red marks on my arm, on my body. And
I have
actually,
a few.
you
We
can
have
actually
a
see
few.
it. Yeah,
All
see, you
right.
can see red there. Well, she has a nice Filipino tan skin. We can still see some red there. Okay, so that's the tricep. So now we're going to go to the front there, the bicep. So go ahead and just turn on there. Now the bicep is, I think it says here, it is like 1 millimeter above. I just want to make sure I get it right here, what I'm saying. 1 centimeter above the level used for the tricep. So if the tricep was here, you're going to come around and be a little bit above there. So, but basically it's about midway of the belly of the bicep. So, and it's also in the very front of the belly. And so there she go, good. So she's getting a nice good. So you want to feel that fat, and you want to pull it away from the muscle so that you're not pinching any muscle. You don't want to include muscle in there, also make it.
I have to say, it's a little hard to pinch.
And it is a
Switch it
good
over
grab
here.
though. That does hurt.
Okay, good.
Oops, let me get on this side here. So she's
Okay.
got a good, so yeah, that's a nice. So her hand, left hand is nice pinching the vertical fold. She can read it very nicely, okay?
So we're at a 6.
At a 6, okay. All right, so that's the bicep. So now the next one is the chest. And if you look in the book here, the chest is different for the male and females. And so basically for the female, it's only 1/3 from the axillary and the nipples. So that axillary is your armpit. So it basically, for the women, it's basically like right about there. And again, that might be a little bit uncomfortable. You gotta sort of pull really good.
And we're going at a diagonal.
At a diagonal, right. All right. Actually, more of a diagonal this way. There
way.
you go. There you go. Okay.
Yes.
There you go. So you want to be nice and firm. Give a good pull on that, and if you see your client wincing, then you know. Oh.
Is it?
No,
Is it?
it's a good pinch. It's a good pinch.
Yep, that looks like she's got a good fold
Christina.
there. Good. Okay. So sometimes it can be a little bit tricky how yours is. So she's reading it nicely. Good.
12.
12, okay. So that's that. That was that. Now let's go to the suprailium. So the suprailium, you find the iliac crest, and so it's it's the bony, your hip, and you find where is it sort of starting to slope down. So right there, see that? It's sort of starting to slope. I can feel her hip bone right there. So the slope down. So what I'll typically do is I'll put my thumb sort of against her hip bone where it's going down, and then I pinch that way. So that'll give you the right angle of the fold. It should be going the same way as the angle of the hip bone. The iliac crest is starting to slope down. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So this one, she'll have to pinch it really good and pull it away. There's some muscle there, so
Okay.
you wanna
So
feel the iliac crest. There you go. There you go. Nice. There you go. See, so good.
Look at all
Yeah.
that fat.
Yeah. Gigi is in fine shape. So all these students will be doing this. So look at how Kyndra is reading it. So that's how that's proper technique. Good. Okay. So that's suprailiac. And now we'll slide over to the abdominal. So it's right on the belly button. And it is, what did it say here? It says 2 centimeters to the right of the belly button. So again, if you want to be real technical, you measure it out. But just goes right, yep, and it's a vertical fold.
Oh, what are you talking
Good
about?
pinch.
I have a
And
good
this one you want to
pinch. I'm having a hard time pulling it. Sorry.
No, you're doing it right.
And on guys, this can be really tough because they might have a lot there to pinch. Nice, nice.
So we're at a 30.
30. Okay, very good. So that is all for the upper body. I think we got everything right in the upper body. Oh, we didn't get the midaxillary. The
Oh,
midaxillary.
yes.
So that is the line. See, you can see the seam of her shirt actually right there. So that is the midaxillary line, and it's basically right above, I think they say the sternum. Vertical fold, yeah, at the level of the xiphoid process. So basically, if you know where the xiphoid process is on the front, you'll just come around, and it'll be right, basically it's right in the middle of the side there. Vertical fold, so, and you can see how Kyndra's using 2 hands, so that's what I often will do to get a really good, nice fold, and then
Good grab.
good grab.
And you can feel the thickness of the muscle underneath what you
Underneath.
are grabbing.
Right. Don't be gentle. You want to make sure you get a good firm. That's good.
Okay.
All right. So that's the mid-axillary. So now we've got all the upper body. So now we're going to go for the lower body. There's 2 in the lower body. So
Okay.
I'm gonna lower this so I can. Nope. Anyway, I will do it like this. There you go. Okay. So we're going to go on the front of the thigh. So the front of the thigh, you have them put their weight on their left leg, and so then that way they can bend their knees slightly, so they're taking their weight off their leg, and so it's where the bend is, inguinal crease at the top of the patella. So basically it's midway between the inguinal, I didn't videotape that, inguinal crease there where the bend is of their thigh, and then the top of the patella. So it's going to be right about there. And again, when you guys do this, I actually want you to measure it just so you get used to it. So use a tape measure, measure that out, and then take the exact middle of that. We're just eyeballing it here. So, okay, so, and the thigh can be quite tight on people. So you want to really get a good pinch of the fat as much as you can, whatever fat is there, and pull it away from that thigh muscle. And on guys, sometimes this can be very painful and difficult because their thighs might be really tight. Nice. And she's wearing tights, so that can be challenging. If they're wearing pantyhose, that can be tough. Good. See, that was good. So she was able to get that. Now the last one is, so turn sideways this way, Gigi. Oh no, the other way. So the last one is, so same positioning of the leg. So put your weight on your left leg, and then your right leg a little bit more forward now. And then you're gonna get the calf. Now the calf is not on the back, it's on in the middle, the medial side of the calf. And it's basically at the largest point of the belly of the calf. So you just look at somebody's calf, see where it's the biggest, it's like right about there. You're coming here, so so think of the ankle, and you're straight up there, and that's where you're gonna pinch. So this is gonna be a tough one. I don't know if that, because she doesn't have a lot of fat there, so you got to really pull hard to grab it.
Sorry,
Oh, that's
Gigi.
good. That's good.
That's a good massage.
That's a good one. Nice pinch.
Yeah, we're giving a little
There you
deep
go.
tissue.
See, so she's
massage.
nice read. Okay, there you go. So that's a good technique. So Kyndra did very well.
Bravo.
Yes. And how did it feel? Could you feel her?
Yeah, it was hurting. She was
Okay.
pinching perfectly.
Good. And I think we covered all this stuff. So yep. So thank you very much to our 2 lovely assistants here for body fat. So now we've had our first homemade one here for the class. So do you want to say anything else to the class? How it was doing? Because Kyndra has been teaching this, but she said she didn't feel confident
in the techniques. Yes, it does take a lot of practice. I'm learning to really feel comfortable actually pinching the subject, really being comfortable with
Not being afraid to pinch them.
hard.
Really.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
what was key when Dr. Medina came to our class was seeing, when he was practicing on a subject, seeing that particular subject was actually
Right.
and
She's a
knowing
process.
that was a normal reaction.
Yep.
So
True. Good point.
That's a very good telltale sign. I'll ask students or people who are doing this if their client ever did that. And they'll say, oh no, they seemed okay. Then I know, then they probably weren't pinching firm enough.
Right.
So if you get that, either leave red marks or they're getting that, ouch, then you know you're doing it properly. So again, we would go through all of these sites again twice, a second time after you've done through it. And if you're using that nomogram that's in the book, that you'll see there, it's only 3 sites, so you don't have. So I don't normally do all of these sites unless I was doing research or something else that required all 3 sites. The more sites you get, obviously, the more accurate the reading, right? Because you're covering the whole body. But again, for weight loss, if you're not doing research, you're just trying to get a standard, a baseline, and then seeing change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Any last comments?
I
Dr.
believe it's
Tinkerbell?
just practice doing it and doing it over and over. I know I need to still do it many more times before I can really say that I've got this down. But now that Dr. Medina has come back to show us how it really is done and not to be afraid of pinching, I'm going to work on that myself too.
Yeah.
And even try to get this one.
The slim guy.
The slim one
Yeah.
and be practicing. I need to overcome that because we did it on a group of football high school students, and I was just scared doing it. But I wish we had Dr. Medina back then showing us how to do it. But just keep doing it to get over that fear that I still have. I'm still going to work on it. So.
Yeah, and we only went to the class. I went over to the class last week, and so and I've been doing this for. Well, even since I was a student, so we're talking since 1990. So
just a few years
just
ago.
a few years, and I've pinched all shapes and sizes, and So the more you do this, and the more different types of people you do, then you'll know what's possible and what to look for, and how some people are easy, and some people are not, and all. But it's like I said, it's good. These guys did great. So thank you very much for your help.
My colleague who's brave to do it.
Yes.
For the subject, for letting me pinch it.
Yes, and so you
Let me
guys.
torture her.
Yeah, so their
That's
assignment
awesome.
is going to be doing the same thing. They're supposed to videotape themselves
Excellent.
pinching somebody. So
Great.
I'm expecting all of your videos to be like this. I'm just doing this on an iPhone, so it's nothing fancy. But I want you to record this, upload this, because that way I can see if you did it just as well as Miss Kyndra did here.
There you go.
And so we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.